After that, I'm not available, but I'm here until then.
Yep, and I'm on my way to the Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council that starts at 9:30, so I'm also at 9:30 out.
Well, they'll still have a quorum. They can still keep talking. I see Mimi and Sarah are here.
And Anthony.
He's the only one I can see. So where's Mimi? Oh, there you are. Okay. Good morning, everybody. And are we live?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we are live. It is 9 o'clock.
All right. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the January 16th, 2026 pre-agenda meeting for the City of Lake Worth Beach. Can I have the roll call, please?
Mayor Betty Resch.
Here.
Vice Mayor Sarah Maliga.
Present.
Commissioner Christopher McVoy.
Here.
Commissioner Mimi May.
Here.
Commissioner Anthony Segrich.
Present.
Full house. Thank you very much. Like I said, I have to leave at 9:30. So if there's anything that is, critical, bring it to the fore so that we can talk about it before Mr. McVoy and I leave. Does anybody have anything that they want to talk about?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I have several things. A quick one, I'm looking for a consensus from my commissioners to add a proclamation to the 20th, the Tuesday meeting from the Early Learning Council, I believe it's Council, of Palm Beach County. They have some date on the 26th that is something significant for them. I'm not sure what. It's a short proclamation of support for early learning 0 to 5 year in Palm Beach County. They are quite an amazing organization, I've come to learn. So I'd like consensus to add that. I only found out about it last night, so that's why I'm asking now.
Do they want to come and speak?
They do, but they can be very short.
How about under Yes, ma'am.
We're not allowed to have proclamations on any meetings except the first meeting of the month, according to the revised rules of procedure.
Okay, so there's the answer.
I just want to say that to my fellow commissioners that the message we send out to the community through that rule is not very positive. Okay, next item. Thank you for the note.
Hang on, Commissioner McVoy, what if they came and did something during non-agenda items?
That's what I was going to suggest. I mean, if there's going to be,
can we do the proclamation during the non-agenda items?
Well, do they need a proclamation, or do they just need the fact that we're supporting them? I mean, a proclamation is, we don't know. We're not hearing.
They specifically asked. They have a proclamation. It's short text.
But they know that we exist, and they know that they have this thing coming up, and they didn't come to you, to anybody, until last night. So it's on them, really, that they're late. Mr. Segrich, I see your hands up.
We don't even know what the proclamation's for. Neither does Mr. McVoy.
So don't put words in my mouth.
You said I don't know.
No, I did not say I don't know.
What is the proclamation for, sir?
To support Early Learning Coalition in Palm Beach County. It's a large nonprofit that supports early learning.
Okay. So they can submit it for a future meeting. Or they can come show up at non-agenda item and say whatever they have to say.
Yeah.
I met with the education task force last night. Not talk over me, sir. Thank you. I met with the education task force. They had a couple of things that they would have liked to have a proclamation for on Tuesday, but it's too late and it's not the meeting that we do that on. So, they were instructed that they could show up and participate in public participation of non-agenda items. That's what that's for. Especially if it's a group asking for support.
Can I get consensus that we put it on whatever the next available one is, please?
Can they forward us the proclamation and what the event is? I always support Early Learning Coalition, especially as a foster parent. So I'd like to know exactly what's in the language.
Well, we don't really scrutinize. If it's generally in support of an organization that we know does good work,
Can I get a yes or no? Because I got a number of other
Mr.
items.
McVoy, please, we're talking.
I understand, Madam Mayor. My only concern is if it has something to do with the current situation of the climate and what's happening with attendance. I just want to be very careful.
Yeah, okay, well, why don't they, Mr. McVoy, ask them to submit it and we'll take a look at the language and it'll get shared with everybody, and if there's any issues, we'll address it. How's that?
Okay, so I got a maybe, I think. Let's move on to the next one. I'll send the
All right,
language
well,
to
Mr.
Melissa.
Mr. McVoy, Mr. Segrich has his hand up. Do you have something you'd like to talk about, Mr. Segrich?
What's that?
Mr. Segrich has
I was
his
just
hand
gonna-
up.
I was just going to say,
Madam Mayor, you asked me if I had things that were urgent. I said I had several.
Well,
Can I
that's
please
all right.
continue?
No, Mr. Segrich, you have something that you'd like to bring up? We can't.
I was just going to say something similar to what you said, Madam Mayor, that we have a process, follow the process. It's simple.
Yeah.
Don't have a temper tantrum, follow the process.
All right, Mr. McVoy, what up next?
Okay. I would like consensus from my colleagues to have a schedule as soon as possible, a special meeting to address immigration issues in the city, to respond and in a substantive fashion to the numerous requests we've had with suggestions of things we can do within that are within our jurisdiction. So I'd like a special meeting where staff would meet with each of us, get our suggestions on what to put on the special meeting. We've all received communications from various organizations with suggestions, and we put a special meeting on. Can I get consensus for that? We had it on the agenda at the last meeting, but we did not get to it.
Well, let me just give you an update on that. The letter that was sent with the requests, that the organization had sent in, I have forwarded personally to David Kerner and made him aware of it. And I told him that we have a meeting on Tuesday. If he can have some sort of response by Tuesday. I don't know if I'll hear back from him, but I just want to know I've done that. But I cannot, folks, is there any consensus to have a special meeting about this?
I would support that because I think that it's important that we see data and we know exactly what's happening in the city. And we did have it as a conversation point, and unfortunately we talked way too long about trees that were already purchased. So I would support that and having a conversation.
At a special meeting?
At a special meeting?
Well, it seems that if it gets added to another meeting at the end of the agenda, we may not get to it, which makes us look like we're avoiding it. So I don't want the community to think we're avoiding a conversation. If we can have, an hour special meeting before one of our meetings from 5 to 6 and just talk about it, then at least we're addressing it. We're not ignoring it. That's all.
Mr. Segrich.
I'll keep my comments short, but similar to previous, when this letter was presented, there were allegations made of wrongdoing. None of those have been substantiated. When the organizations were asked to substantiate it, even just a little bit, they refused. So I'm not inclined to have a discussion about something that people are just going to put stuff out there and not substantiate. So I would not be in favor of a special meeting on it until people come forward with substantiated claims versus sensationalized.
Well, do you think that things are not happening out there in the community?
Oh, I definitely think that ICE is out there in the community arresting people, and it's disrupting families, and there is definitely a lot of angst about it. I don't think people are being, quote, kidnapped. If there is evidence of wrongdoing and illegal activity, it's on, and we know about it as commissioners. We should be reporting it and should not be afraid to substantiate that. So I'm all for having a frank discussion that's fact-based, but I'm not for having a discussion based on things that are just sensationalized claims.
Well, I have to say that your statement of sensationalized claims is I don't agree with that.
Well, I mean, take one example.
We have different views on it. We have different views on it.
No, but one real example, Madam Mayor, happened, in our commission meeting where Mr. McVoy made claims of police brutality on the Third Ave or 3rd Street over by C that he personally witnessed, yet never reported. Captain Karn gave us the vehicles to report that, never reported. So that's what I'm meaning when I'm saying sensationalized. To me, that's sensationalizing something, unless He saw it and then chose not to report it, which would be horrible. So I just would be very careful.
There was no need to report it. The person was arrested for having tried to give water bottles to mother and
You said
kids.
you said it was police brutality, sir.
I don't think I used that word.
Down on this. Either we're going to do something or not. I don't know that a special
Are we
meeting.
going to have a special
Mr.
meeting?
McVoy, please. You're asking for us to do something, and we're talking about whether we're going to do it or not. I don't know that a special meeting with a vote is necessary. I mean, if we could limit it to 1 hour before a meeting, I could do that. But I mean, unless we have information, it's really hard to do this. Hyperbole is not factual, I'm sort of on both sides of that argument. But I'm hoping that by having contacted Mr. Kerner and given him the list of requests from the community that the community submitted to us, we would have some response. Otherwise, there's the information I don't think exists or is available for what's being asked. But when I talk to the PBSO, they're not getting information from ICE about what they're doing. They're not privy to that. That's what I've had. So, I mean, if an hour before a meeting, I would not object to that if that's the way we want to handle it. But I think that would be whether it's a workshop or a special meeting. Mr. Segrich?
I would ask that if we are going to have a discussion, that there are specific items to discuss. So what specific actions is Mr. McVoy asking this commission to take? We've had that before.
That would be the topic of conversation.
If we're going to have a conversation about it, please outline it, give us some details prior, and then we can make a decision on that. An open-ended discussion, I think, is a horrible idea.
Okay, Ms. May?
I tend to agree with that. I think that if we had a structured discussion based on specific criteria, or not criteria, but based on a specific agenda that we were going to talk about, I think that could be productive. I don't want it to be a media frenzy where there's 87,000 people in there just yelling about ICE, because that's not productive. And it's not the appropriate place to do that, because as a commission, we don't make decisions about that. If you want to have 87,000 people go complain, go to ICE, go to Florida Highway Patrol, not to the City Commission of Lake Worth Beach.
Well,
now, let me finish. So if we want to have a discussion about specific things that have happened in our community, maybe ways we can help children that have had parents that have been taken away, maybe I am okay with talking about that. But if we're talking about if we're talking about things like that are not substantiated with some sort of reporting or proof or something, then I won't feel comfortable doing that. And I think that having an item on the agenda is plenty. I don't know that we need to have a special meeting.
Well, we tried that, and again,
put it first on the agenda. I mean, that's I don't think that it's a special meeting. I think special meetings and workshops are things that directly, they're decisions that we have to make that are going to affect all 45,000 people in the city of Lake Worth Beach. And I'm not saying that this doesn't in the grand scheme of things, but it's not a policy decision that we're going to make that's going to affect.
I think Mr. McVoy is looking for a policy decision. And I think, let me just say one thing. I mean, I think the expectations, my personal feelings about what I hear, what's going on it's very disturbing, but we have no jurisdiction to do anything about it. And that's what the people can come to the meetings and yell at us for having white privilege or whatever, but there's nothing that this city can do.
Nope. That will
affect. And when I look at, I don't see swarms of people. I mean, I look at different cities and the demonstrations going on, and it's almost like the people are asking us to do something that they've not done. I mean, this is just a rough situation. So if you want to add it on as an agenda item for discussion, I agree, Ms. May. I think that it's going to just give an opportunity for more disparaging comments about what we are or not doing. But so can we do consensus to put on an agenda item
Could I comment quickly?
Really quickly, because it's 9:15 now. We've all done your stuff.
Okay, I agree with Commissioner Segret and Commissioner May with the request that if we're going to have a special meeting, we should have some backup for it. We should have factual information. We should have some options laid out
Yeah.
for us. And I'm 100% in support of that. In fact, I believe when I made the request, certainly was in my head, maybe not out my mouth, was that staff meet with each of us, get a list of what things we think would be, and then put that list together, and that becomes part of the backup. I'm not saying we should do things that are out of our jurisdiction. There are a number of things that are within our jurisdiction that we can do. We can also make resolutions that indicate, our support for this, that, or the other. We have a lot of options. We also can ask staff to research what are options, what are other cities doing.
Our staff
And
is
bring
pretty
that back
busy.
to
And listen, I'm going to interrupt you, Mr. McVoy.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
now
not going to put that on the
15
staff.
minutes. No, I'm not going to put that on staff, number one. And number two, when I go to Florida League of Cities meetings and I bring this issue up about, I get a blank stare. Okay.
Yep.
We are pretty, unusual in the effect that this is having on our city. So do we have consensus to do an agenda item to talk about it? And I can update whether I've heard back from Mr. Kern or not. I did reach out to the Guatemalan Center and they were unwilling to give me any information. So that was I just got an email from Father Frank the other day. How can we help you help us? And I'm like, well, if you won't talk to me, if you won't give me any information, I really can't. So let's move on. It's now 20 after 9 almost.
Madam Mayor, my hand is up.
Yeah,
I know
I will.
Madam Chair.
So go ahead.
I'm just in regards to this, and Commissioner May, I heard what you said in regards it doesn't affect the financial impact to the businesses in our town has been very, very harmful in regards to what's happening, because a lot of the community that supports our businesses is not coming out. And it kind of is affecting everybody in our town financially. So just keep that in mind. It's not just the families that are being affected. It's the families and the people who have invested in our city that are now losing money and having to close up shop early because nobody comes out after dark.
Okay, thank you. Okay, does anybody have a new topic to bring up?
Well, we didn't get consensus on that, Madam Mayor. None of us.
Well, do we have consensus? Well, I'm asking, do we have
I
consensus?
consent.
I will not consent until we see what the topics are going to be. Mr. McVoy needs to go back, do his homework, send it to us, and follow the process. Just open-ended saying, hey, we're going to have a discussion in the future about it. It doesn't work. So just like I was asked to come back with a much more detailed plan on the crime task force and so on. If Mr. McVoy is passionate about this and wants to lead this charge, great. Come back with a plan. He said he has no problem having a detailed plan. Come back with a plan, then we'll vote as to whether we want to discuss it.
Are you willing to do that, Mr. McVoy? Gather some information for us?
I will happily do that. Thank you.
All right, so why don't you come back to us when you've got the information, and then we'll schedule it. How's that?
Okay.
Okay.
I did have a couple other items.
All right, well, Mr. McVoy, it isn't, you cannot just, does anybody else have anything they want to talk about besides, Ms. May, I see your hands up.
Oh, that's because I didn't lower it.
Okay, does anybody, Mr. McVoy has more issues he'd like to talk about. We have staff, I don't know what else is going on with people. No one has if no one has anything else they want to talk about the agenda, which is what's coming up for us, that's why we're having this meeting.
Mine are agenda related.
Okay, what's that, Mr. McVoy?
I put in a request on Monday, because we have a number of second reading items on the 20th agenda. I put in a request on Monday, 4 different emails asking for clarification and further information. I was doing my homework. I have only heard back that we can't provide an answer for that. And I'm driving, so I can't look at anything in front of me, which makes it a little harder. But I asked William about the LDR changes, and I asked for clarification. My recollection was in response to Commissioner Malega's question, or Vice Mayor Malega, pardon me, question of how many hours had William put in on making LDR changes for a specific business, and he said 100+ hours, maybe. I would like clarification before the meeting, and Monday is a holiday, so it needs to be today, before the meeting. How many hours was that department actually put in? When was the commission first informed that there was even a decision? And what is our process for deciding that some people just get a no on things and other people get hundreds of hours of staff time, that we have had sort of a leaning of a policy that we're going to charge people for that?
I support
need-
that because I did ask that question.
So I'd really
I
like
don't-
answers.
What's the actual question?
How many hours were put in? When was the commission first informed so
You mean
that
for the Sunset
decision
property?
could be made?
Are you
No.
talking about the sun? What?
No,
Which
no,
one?
no.
No. The concrete.
The Commissioner Moga, yes. We share LDRs for a single business. We brought after those hours. I was never informed that this was even under consideration, that we would consider putting that kind of staff time into something we not approved. I have a difficulty with the process. It does not seem like it's balanced or fair. So I'd like clarification. The questions, you can ask Jamie to forward them to you if you want them, but they're pretty much what I just said. I also had questions about the information that is being presented on the amendments. We've had all of us have received a long, detailed letter from a lawyer indicating that a man on a galloping horse could see that this does not meet the requirements of a neutral presentation of the information. And I fully agree, and have already raised that, done my homework.
You've made
with
that very
staff.
clear, Mr. McVoy. Yes, you have made that
I would
very
like clarification on who the electioneering attorney was that gave the advice that this was okay.
I think that's available. Okay, James, Mr. Brown?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. So I had a question. So on the concrete batch plant project, so like for yesterday, for instance, we had a meeting with someone who is looking to come in and do a project. They had some questions on the zoning and what they can do and parking requirements and stuff like that. So we currently don't have a policy. If someone's coming in, and we are here all the time, how do we get to yes? How do we help people get to yes?
Right.
Well, I don't know if that's going to take a half an hour, if that's going to take 20 hours, but we help people kind of get their projects pushed along and tell them what they need to do to kind of adhere to what our current zoning and stuff is. So I don't know when Commissioner McVoy is asking, well, how many hours, and there is no policy currently saying if something's going to take more than, say, 4 hours, if someone comes in with a project and they need help trying to figure out how to get that project pushed through. We currently don't have any policy saying if you extend past X amount of hours, we now need to come to the commission and say, hey, do you guys want us to continue helping this person? So I don't really know what to do in this situation. And this has gone on for well over a year. You know, they come back with some other things. They give them, hey, you can do this, but you can't do this. And they'd send them back. They'd come back if they did some revisions. So I don't know what to do in that situation.
I mean, we said, so, you know, is my understanding, and I've done this from both sides of the desk. I mean, if somebody wants to come in, we're trying to be business friendly to give them I think what we're doing is giving them the information that they need to accomplish what they want to accomplish. If it's within, if it's a request, we can't micromanage everything that comes into staff.
And it's just
And I
kind of like the business day, like it's part of the job. So I
That's what
don't
we do.
know how to do it, unless you guys want to come up with some kind of policy and give us and say, hey, if something is taking longer than X amount of hours, then you need to now come to us. And again, that's just going to slow everything down because this is not
Right.
something that is done in any other city I'm aware of.
Right. Okay, Mr. Segrich, your hand was up.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On that same topic, I do think that Mr. McVoy has a point. If he asks for pieces of information, whether it's relevant or irrelevant, that's not up to us to decide, and it's not up for staff to decide. He should get those answers. I know, there's some stuff that I've asked that I never got, which, made me upset with that. Questioning the process, I think, is good. But I do, hear Jamie Brown loud and clear. This to me is part of the process. Now, whether it took 1,000,000 hours or 5 hours or no hours, shouldn't have anything to do with our decision on the second reading. It's
Right.
kind of like, oh, you used a lot of staff time, therefore we're going to vote against you. That's not right. So, it needs to be judged by the merits of what it actually is, what that ordinance is and what the changes are. So I don't think this issue should hold us up from, because I think that's what Mr. McVoy is trying to get at, is he wants, unless he gets that answer, to hold up or remove that agenda item. I don't think that should have any bearing on the decision, but I
I
think.
did not say that.
Okay.
Just
Yeah,
for the
all right,
record.
just keep
That's
going.
fine.
Time
But
is.
I do absolutely support his ask, and I think he deserves to absolutely get that information.
Oh, yeah, it's all public record. Mr. Brown, and then Sarah, I'm cutting off. I'm leaving in a minute.
Yeah, I'll follow up with William this morning and
Okay.
see
Yeah, I mean, it is
what the
frustrating when we
holdup
ask
is.
stuff.
Yeah,
and
I'll
don't
follow
get-
up. Yep.
Okay, Mr. Rodriguez?
Hi, good morning. I'm here for William, just to respond to Commissioner McVoy's inquiry. We are working on that. It should have that today. I apologize. It's taken staff a little bit of time to get some information prepared because this project did start. The inquiry did begin in January of 2024. So again, my apologies. We will have the timeline and some other questions answered sometime or late this morning or early afternoon.
Okay, Mr. Rodriguez, when you do that, would you just share it with everybody?
I absolutely will. Thank you.
Of course, thank you. Figured you would. Thank you. Ms. Malega?
Thank you. First of all, I don't know why William's not on the call, but I would like to know if we could talk about policy changes, that if there is a project like this that's, let's say it goes over 5 hours of staff time, then there's an additional fee structure. Because I know Common Grounds tried to put in a coffee brewery, for lack of better words. I forgot what it's like when you grind the coffee grounds, and they were told flat no. Not, you're a great business, maybe we can look at a different project. They were told flat no 3 years ago. There was no hand holding, there was no working through LDRs. So I think that we as policymakers need to give direction and say, if something's taking more than 5 hours, there needs to be a direct financial gain to the city, because we shouldn't be losing money and our staff shouldn't be dedicating that much time to one project. That's all I have.
All right, well, I mean, I think we're treading on operational things, but I'm not going to argue with you right now. But I'm going to sign off. Ms. May, will you take over? No, not you. Malega. Would somebody just take this thing over? Because I got to go to court.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you very much.
Good luck.
Have a great weekend, and I'll see some of you or something maybe over the weekend. Have a great weekend. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good luck.
Thank
you. Okay, so Mr. McVoy, does anybody else have any questions or anything they want to talk about in regards to the current agenda for the 20th of January?
Can I just make a comment real quick about the LDR and the thing with the coffee grind that you were just talking about? Yeah, because I hear you, and there are for Leadership Palm Beach, we just went to a business in Lake Park, and it was all based on this Oceano coffee and how they have made a home in Lake Park when they do have a facility and they do the grinding of the beans. So it's not that it can't be done. It's that it was shut down, and shutting it down, I don't necessarily think is the job of staff, because otherwise we'd be shutting down this concrete thing instead of bringing it to us.
And concrete and kava places and all the other stuff.
Right. So I do think that there should be more, I don't know. I mean, I think that we do want to know what kind of ideas people are bringing to our city. Kind of like how Melissa gives us a report each week where she tells about who made the public records request. Like, I would like a little bit more transparency in what are some of the business opportunities that are coming to us that we are considering or not considering, without it going to the commission, which is the representation of the people that live here that will be affected directly.
Does
Okay.
anybody else have anything to support that? I think that that's a great idea. We used to get an update. I think it was quarterly in regards to what plan developments were in the hopper. I haven't seen that either in quite some time, but I think that maybe that's a policy decision we need to try to work on and bring forward. Is there any more support for that?
Yes, I would. I am still on because I missed my turn off, so I got another 12 minutes that I'm still on. But yes, I think, I don't know exactly the details, but the idea that we should get informed before a very large investment of time goes in, and before it's something where we're actually going to change our rules to accommodate a specific business, when, as Vice Mayor points out, another business didn't get a rule change, they just got a no. And
Right.
I'm concerned, yes, we want to be business friendly, 100%, but we also need to be somewhat fair about it. We need to be clear, how much staff time is involved, and we need to think about, should that be compensated? But also, we should be quite cautious about just changing our rules for some and saying no to others.
Okay, does anybody have anything on the agenda? We're at 9:31.
Sarah, my hand was up.
I didn't see it. Go ahead, Anthony. Sorry.
So I think on this topic, we try to fine line of reaching in too far into the organization and basically handicapping our organization from running effectively. A lot of the issues that we're talking about have to do with the misapplication of policy or the unfair application of policy, which we've heard time and time again. Ms. May, I totally agree. There are some businesses that get a flat out no, and it seems there's some businesses that get the red carpet rolled out for them. There's some ideas that get shot down, and it seems like everything is working against it. And others, it seems like, it's Moses parting the Red Sea to make it happen.
Mhm.
That's not something that we will be able to successfully control from the commission level. We've already given our direction, and our policy direction is that we want to be business friendly. We want to find a way to yes for these businesses. I heard another disturbing story of another business having to take down a sign. The Farmer Girl had to take down their sign. The Eclectic Boutique had to take down their sign. Off the Clock is trying to get a sign with the CRA and is being held up because staff didn't like their survey. What does a survey have to do with a sign? And that's not in our code. It's a policy thing. It's the actions. And that, I'm afraid, correcting that is, we can make all the rules we want. We have a lot of rules. It's whether, staff is interpreting and following a policy that we've set. And right now it's a misapplication of policy, and that has to get addressed at the human resources level. I don't think we can legislate our way to a decision, but I think we should continue to highlight these. And, we've had problems with that department. We've had clear examples of this kind of behavior. We saw it on the garage, where we went from planning this garage for months and months and months and months, and staff withheld key pieces of information right up until the height got challenged. And then all of a sudden we got about 27 different reasons why it couldn't happen. So that's an example of where the thumb was on the scale, and that shouldn't happen. And so that needs to be corrected at the personnel level, in my opinion. If our policy is to be business friendly, staff has to find a way to do that. Now, in terms of how much time they spend, that's the director's job. The director needs to judiciously govern the time of their department such that they can be effective and get everything done. And if, stuff is taking too long or resources are being spent where they shouldn't, that's their job to bubble that up and say, hey guys, we need help. But I'm not seeing that happen here. So I really caution us to, I think we're getting our hands too deep, and we can't legislate our way out of it. But it is an issue, but I think it needs to be handled on the personnel side, not the legislative side.
I concur and I appreciate your comments. Unfortunately, the person that should be on this call is not on this call to handle this conversation. So that will have to go to upper management. But loud and clear, I agree. And I think that we need to keep our eyes on how much money, time, overtime is being spent in that department. But let's go ahead and move on to the agenda. Does anybody have anything?
I did have one other one, and that was in clarification on the second reading on the special permits. I had some questions also put in on Monday and have not heard anything back on that. That concerns me because that is information that is very relevant to the second reading vote.
Jamie, do you have any response to that?
Yeah, I'll get with Stuart this morning and see what got to pull that up. It's been an extremely busy week of nothing but meetings. So it was Troy and I were actually talking yesterday afternoon. We got one of our meetings today canceled, and we were both excited we'll actually have time to get to all these emails today because they've just been piling up all week, but just haven't had time. So
Okay, I
we'll get to
understand,
that
but when the
today.
commission sends an email to staff that's in concern to a meeting that's coming up, I think that should be prioritized personally.
Yeah.
I understand there's meetings and the daily data business, but we only have so much time to do our homework. And if there's questions that are going to staff needs to kind of prioritize to get those answers to the commission so we can make the best decision possible while we're on the dais.
Understood.
I do have an issue that I would like to bring up.
Yes, ma'am.
I went to the golf course yesterday twice to meet with different people. And there is a giant pothole with cones in it right in the driveway. And it's I believe it was caused by an AT&T something or some water main. I don't even know what it was caused by, but it's very unsightly. And we have had record people coming into golf right now. And I just think that needs to be pushed to a priority to get that filled so that the entrance to the golf course is inviting.
Did Stu or Shannon or anybody know about that?
Yes.
Who knew about it?
I think that seems reasonable. Let's get some pressure on whoever left the hole and get it cleaned up.
I'll find out right after this meeting what's going on with that.
Thank you. The other question I have, and this is about the K Street garage and I'm really still having concerns regarding the moving of the 17 South M with the finances involved in doing that. It's still, I know that we voted to do it and I need to accept the vote and I will, but I'm just worried about spending so much money on one specific thing when we have so many other needs in the city. So I just want to put it on record that I think we're wasting money by doing that. I'm done.
Sarah, I had a comment on that.
Go ahead.
I had asked staff to give me an update on what our current spend was. And I got accurate information from our city attorney. I got accurate information from our consultant, Chen Moore. But what I didn't get was any information on the third parties that were utilized. And, we're waiting for that. My concern is that it's way over budget compared to what we were supposed to do. My other concern is we have a consultant acting as our project manager on a multi-million-dollar project. And the consultant's response to, hey, how much did you spend with third parties was, I don't know. I think that we need to have somebody from the city monitoring this and actually knowing these. I would expect on a project of this size that to not be a difficult question. How much did we actually spend so far? I would expect that to be a 5-second answer. So I do have some concerns with that. I have concerns with the moving of that historic building how logistically that's going to be possible. But like you said, we voted one way. So hopefully we can get those answers on how much have we actually spent with those third parties. My other item I had, it's a happy note. I met with the Educational Task Force, and one of the items that they reported back was that our high school ROTC program beat out about 350 other ROTC programs. And our leader of that program got Leader of the Year award.
That's great.
And they are going to a national level competition. So they beat out the Southeast region, and now they're going to the national level. When I get more details on the dates and exactly what it was, I think as a commission, and I would like to get consensus that we basically congratulate them and wish them luck in their next level, because this is pretty important for these young people. And it's a pretty amazing feat that they did. And I think the whole city should be proud of this. So when I have more information, I will share that. But I would like to ask consensus that when we do get that as a commission, we could do something, whether it's a proclamation or just a recognition at a meeting or a letter of congratulations to these folks.
I
Absolutely.
support that, and I also think that we should put something on the kiosk that's out front, the marquee, congratulating them now for what they've already done, so that shows them that they have support from City Hall.
Mhm. And if they need, if they have an ask for, that's going to be a huge traveling expense. So we should probably see if there's any way we as a commission, we as individual commissioners or individual residents can help support them.
Are you volunteering to drive them?
No, but I might help with a bus, with bus fare.
Got it. Anybody else?
Melissa has her hand up.
Why am I not seeing your guys' hands? Yes, Melissa?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I sent out an email yesterday about the possible proclamations for February 3rd meeting.
Oh, let's
So I
see.
need a decision on that. So one was 211 Awareness Week, which we've done for many years. I did get a request from the organization.
Yep, I'm in for that.
Yes, in,
Yes.
Okay, Black History Month. I
Yes,
did not get one, but
Yes.
yes,
yes,
thank you. And then the last one is the Lord's Place March to End Homelessness
Yes.
Awareness Day.
Yeah.
yes.
Although I did not get any request for that this year.
no, but, and yes, and I think we can reach out to the Lord's Place. I am sure that they will come.
Right, I was just gonna say the same thing. I did respond to you yesterday, Melissa. I hope you got it.
Yes. All right, thank you. I have consensus for all three. Thank you.
Just a quick reminder, you guys, that it's MLK weekend. We do have the two major cleanup events tomorrow. One from 8 to 12 in front of the city gymnasium on Wingfield. The other one on G Street, South G Street and 9th Avenue South. That's more of a community impact and neighborhood cleanup. We have partners with PBSO, the Recovery Hub, Arms of Hope, Healthier Lake Worth Beach. So if you have time, please come out, even if it's just for an hour, and help love on the community. And then don't forget, on Monday morning, we have the breakfast at Sacred Heart at 8 a.m. Then we have the celebration on the stairs at 4, stairs of City Hall, followed by a march down Lake Avenue to the Cultural Plaza and a ceremony at 5 o'clock. Then there will be a dinner that's, again, all this is free to the community. There's a dinner at Sacred Heart to follow as well.
And tomorrow there's also the Pineapple Beach Mac and Cheese Off, which is in Spillway Park. So that's another event that people can go to. They can try all the mac and cheese and they can vote for the best one.
Or you can do the cleanup until 12, go get mac and cheese, get refueled, and come back and do another cleanup at 1.
You can, yes, and I think that all of that could be done.
Does anybody else have anything, staff?
Buffalo Bills game tomorrow, 4:30.
which is
All right,
after
let's see.
the second cleanup, correct?
Yes,
Correct.
and before the Palm Beach County Human Rights Council Winter Fete.
Well, Miss Maggie's
Busy
gonna be
day
very
tomorrow.
busy tonight.
Busy day. Stuart
All
has
right.
his hand up.
Hi,
Stuart.
Mr. Stewart.
Hey, TGIF. Next Friday, the 23rd, is the Golf Centennial kickoff at the golf course. We would like as many elected officials as possible to attend. That'll be about a 5 p.m. spot. We're going to have some cars from the 1920s out front. We'll kick off with a Centennial flag raising, ceremonial tee shot. We'll move inside to recognize the tournament winners, some remarks from the Women's Golf League, the Men's Golf League, and there is a band that will be performing outside the back of the beach club to kind of kick off the ceremonial year. If you could attend, and I believe it's on your calendar, but I just wanted to plug that. We'll have everyone together. Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you,
Stuart,
Stu. I did want to say, it did come up the other day that was not on our calendar, and I would like, just some consensus from us as a commission that anything that Leisure Services has going on, please
Yes.
place on our city calendar, and then it's up to us if we want, if we can attend and to let you know. But, anything that Leisure Services has going on, we should be able to see on our city calendars.
Yes, yes, and yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Jamie, were you gonna say something? You had something?
Stuart was on. I was just going to mention we have bonfire at the beach tonight, and it's going to be a beautiful night. So
Yeah, for sure. Definitely festive weather for the bonfire.
Yeah. People are going to be like trying to get as close as they can.
Well, if nobody else has anything, I guess we can cut out early. Everybody have a safe and healthy weekend and hope to see you at the cleanups and at all the festivities we have going on this weekend.
Yay, Lake Worth. Yay, Lake Worth
Lake Worth.
Beach.
Go Lake Worth Beach.